Ray, I want to know, other than I messed up your name in the pre-show, I want to, yeah, we get to meet today. I've been asking everybody today, just kind of in an ice cream mood, what's your favorite dessert? And if it's ice cream, what's the flavor?
Oh my gosh. So I'm lactose
Oh
intolerant.
no, this is amazing.
I know. It's crazy. I mean, like, I haven't always been because I used to love ice cream when I was like younger,
Yeah,
but my adult years, it is
your
not
body
working.
doesn't love it back.
Not at
Yeah.
all. It's not a good situation. So you know what? Like, anytime I see a chocolate cake of any sort
Mm,
on any
okay.
menu, I'm like, give it to me. I freaking love chocolate cake. I love, like, the darker the chocolate, the better.
Okay.
I'm just like that girl.
That's awesome.
Now they do have a lot of dairy-free options for ice
It's true.
cream.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm a weirdo and I've loved this since I was a little girl, but I love coffee ice cream. I love
Coffee is,
coffee ice
yeah.
cream.
Yeah.
So good. That's my favorite. So
I love it.
I get that dairy free.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, there's like Halo Top, and even Jenny's got, the whatchamacallit, the dairy free. So I get you. I used to.
Yeah, Ben and Jerry. Ben
Oh,
and
they have one
Jerry.
too. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, they
I
do.
had
It's really
a
good.
roommate when I first moved to DC, and he was lactose intolerant, and we knew it. And then one night I just come home, and he's got a pint of Ben and Jerry's on his lap, and it wasn't the lactose free or
Dairy
dairy
free.
free, and I was like. I said, "What are you doing? Are you okay?" Like, I have no allergies, so I had no idea. I was like, are you going to go in the hospital? Like, what's the deal? And he just looks at me and he goes, "It's worth it."
Right,
And I was like,
right.
"Okay,
I mean, sometimes, some situations it can be, but you say that, and then it's like after eating it, you're like, was this worth it? Because I feel
yeah,
crazy. But you can also take pills. There's like all kinds of
yeah,
different things that you can do
strategy,
to.
yeah." Is your headphone okay? We can fix it if you want, or try and figure something out.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, it kind of keeps sliding out a little bit.
Okay, so it's like a little bit loose. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, I'm gonna work it
Okay.
out over
Okay.
here.
Awesome. We'll just everybody watch it. Everybody
Okay,
watching will be like, "What's up?" Practice your DJ
right.
skills. Yeah.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it. I love it.
and all good.
So I want to know, you're one of those photographers where you go to their Instagram bio and it says two locations. And I'm always hesitant when I see it. I'm always like, are you for real? Like, are you trying to market to somewhere? Are you trying to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can serve, this, like, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve two cities.
Mm-hmm.
But and there are a lot of photographers who don't who is it's not real, or maybe it's like aspirational, but in all my
Mm-hmm.
research, it's very real for you. And so both Houston,
Very.
Texas, right, and DC here in Chocolate City. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that. Like, how are you navigating both of those? Has it always been that way, or did you do one before?
I have to take a deep breath and, like, let it out
Okay.
because honestly, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, as you can imagine, it's just like it can be a lot. But I'm trying to really, like, navigate the water. So, okay. I started my business in DC 2011, 2012
Okay.
ish. And yep. And so, just, off a straight passion, love photography since I was young. And I just was like, took this class to learn how to basically shoot a manual. And everything kind of just, like, really picked up, snowballed, and all the things. So I did all of that. And in 2018, I was dating a guy and we were long distance. Well, we started dating in 2016 and we were long
Mm,
distance, and we just had that conversation like, okay, would you move to Texas? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, why not, And in 2018, top of 2018, I moved to Austin. So
okay.
initially I was really nervous to, like, market myself to tell my DC audience, my people, that I was, like, leaving and being in Texas. So for a while, I didn't even say anything. I was just like, I'm here, whatever, all the time. And then that relationship didn't work. And
Oh no.
so I know it's all good. Things
Okay.
happen. It's a blessing in disguise, truly. But I really think of, like, that situation as the kind of the catalyst to get me to expand and to get me into Texas.
Mm,
So when it happened, when we kind of like were breaking up and things, I was like, well, I'm gonna move to Houston because I love Houston. When I initially met the guy, he was in Houston. So as we dated and stuff, and I came to visit, I would market myself to Houston. And there's a lot of like, I went to Howard, so there's a lot of a big Howard community down here, big HBCU community. Yeah. And so it was like, I would come down, visit him, shoot. And I was like, okay. So I was marketing to Houston. When I moved, when he had to like, he moved to Austin to finish his doctoral program. And so I moved to Austin. But I was not marketing to Austin. Yeah. So for like the first like year, I was really not even, I was just like everywhere I shot, I was traveling. So DC, I was shooting in Houston and I was shooting in Dallas, right? And so it's like everything I shot, I literally had to travel to. And that was like really annoying, but it was my life. And so when things like didn't go well, I was like, I'm moving to Houston. I've always said I wanted to live in Houston. I've been marketing myself to Houston. I shoot in Houston. So that's what I did. And so my homestead is Houston, Texas now. Okay. I feel like, here we are in 2021, post panorama. And I just feel like I'm in Houston. like what I'm saying? Like, I go back and forth. The thing is that like I've built like my business, like the meat and potatoes of my business in DC. Yeah. And so it's kind of home. And so I always will shoot in DC or have opportunities to shoot in DC because, that's where I started. That's where I've built up my network of friends within the wedding industry, all of the things. And so the Houston piece is just an expansive kind of piece of the brand. It is slowly but surely kind of picking up. But yes, this is a real thing. I shoot in both cities. And really now, post like pandemic, and, we get to kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah, exactly. In 2020, it slowed us down as wedding photographers. Yeah. Like we were all like put to a halt, which in a sense was really good because I didn't even realize how much I was doing, like how much I was traveling, how much I was shooting and all the things. So now like, I'm just way more bold about me being in Houston, really like being strategic with my marketing in Houston. Yeah. And I'm in DC at least once a week. And in the heavier, months, I'm there probably twice. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I feel like as I grow, as things progress and, I grow the business and things like that, like I am really trying to build up more Houston clientele. Okay. And in a sense, I won't ever stop shooting in DC, but like maybe slow it down a little bit. Because it's a lot. Yeah. It's really genuinely a lot. So I'm in two cities. That's the story of the two cities.
That's awesome. Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like you like Houston and you want that to be the primary, right?
Yeah, okay. I do. Yeah, I really like Houston. I mean, I've always known that I wanted to kind of get back to the South. When I was a young little girl, I was raised in the South. Both of my parents were from North Carolina. Yeah. I used to live in South Carolina and Georgia and Kentucky. And so like I have Southern roots. And I really love like the DC, Maryland, Virginia area for what it was. Like I went to Howard, I built a business there. It's, an urban city and all the things. And so I feel like if you're made in DC, like you can do whatever anywhere, Totally. I truly believe that wedding vendors I'll just say wedding vendors are some of the most sharp wedding vendors in DC because the market is like, no joke. Yeah. Like you are cut from iron, And so, but in Houston, like I love just the southernness. I love the weather. The cost of living is amazing. It just is a really prime situation for entrepreneurs to thrive. Cool. And being the finance person that I am, I went to Howard for finance and accounting. Okay. It just speaks to me, so I'm really enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. So now I'm just like learning the Houston waters because they're so different than DC. Yeah. It's so different.
What do you think is the most different thing? Like, what is one example? Is it just vendor relationships? Obviously, the type of weddings, right? Texas versus DC, but what is the biggest thing?
you know what? Price point. It's so weird. Like there, people down here have way more disposable income to spend, but like it's the price point is to me a lot lower.
Yeah.
I also have noticed like down here, I don't know, like I feel like in DC, you know, my friends Terry and Iris and Ashley
Yeah.
and Natasha, like my girls, you know, we're all like female photographers and just whatever. And so there's a big like community of female photographers if you want a female wedding photographer. In Houston, not so much.
Oh.
There's a few, but not so much. So that's good for me because I truly do think my work kind of stands out, you know, for the people that want that, whatever. Sure. So between price point and just like I don't know, like the like a good like option of like wedding photographers, like down here, I don't know, it's just different. It's just different. Okay. Yeah. So, but then also, you know, the weddings, like the venues are massive, like they're huge, it's beautiful, lots of outdoor space, even though it's hot as crap. You know, it's just like, it's like kind of day and night. So I really enjoy it because as a photographer, we love like new scenes and like, I'm a nature girl. I love outside. And so I love that. Like, I love the idea of like ranch weddings or like these like huge weddings on these estates with, you know, just Texas shit. So it's fun. Yeah. It's very, very, it's just like day and night though. So I'm like learning and finding my footprints and just, you know, doing my thing. Yeah.
I love it. Texas shit. You're just like, all right, yeah, whatever says there. That's awesome.
It's there. It really is. Like if there's any listeners in Texas, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Cause it's just, everything is bigger in Texas. Like Texans do it big. Except I don't want to keep saying this, but the price point is honestly, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but
that is so funny. Yeah. I have, 2 or 3 of my mentees are in Texas, and one's in San Antonio, one's like outside of Austin, and one, like all of last year, I was like, oh yeah, I'm only shooting like 10-person weddings, and they're like, I'm about to shoot 200 a day. I was like, oh man, be safe out there. But
Texas is wide open. Like, I mean, we've been open for a while, and but that's also different because like when DC people hear that, they're like, oh my God. But like Texas is like everything here is spread out and a lot of stuff is outside. Right. So you can have like, even in December, January, February, you can still be outside and spread out because everything is big, you know? So it's hard to conceptualize when you come from like the East Coast, like DC, where everything like, you know, there's these it's tight and there's these seasons. Yeah. And no seasons down here.
Yeah, no, totally. It's like in DC, you're in this like 200-year-old building with 100 people, and it was made for people who are 5'5" and 100 pounds. And I'm walking through walls and my cameras are hitting the walls and all this stuff. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yes, you're like squeezing around. But here it's like, no, you have all the space, honey. Like you can just, everybody can spread out. It can be 200 people because you know, the venues will be made for like 400 people. Insane. So 200 people is 50% capacity, right? So it's different. It's really different. But I really love it. I definitely love it. So
that's cool. Okay. That makes sense. Cause I was like, you know, if somebody asked me like, Adam, do you want to live in DC or live in Houston? I'll be like, DC, baby, you know, but it's good to know. And I think too, like you mentioned, it's hard. Like, you know, hopefully you're kind of getting a community there, but DC, what I found, I didn't know this when I came here, but I came from Philly, which is, you know, had a decent sized wedding market. It's a big city, right? Nothing crazy. But lots of good photographers, you know, and it's like photography's changed in the last 10 years anyway. Like there's a lot of us. But DC, I found the stat out a few years ago and it all made sense. In the DMV, like Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC, there are 20,000 wedding photographers. You know, and it's like,
that's mind blowing.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
It's insane. DC is also most expensive average wedding market, usually because of Southeast Asian weddings. And so they bring the average up. So like the average cost is like $270K or something like that, you know? So it's like there is a lot of bread on the table, but there's also a lot of competition. And it's like, I tell people all the time that I'm like, I can't rest on my laurels, or
Right.
I can't be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to hustle as hard, or I'm not going to go as hard on Instagram or blogging or whatever. Cause I'm like, my competition will, like they
Yes.
are hungry for the spot. And, also if you don't have a well-defined brand out here, it's like, okay, then you're
Yes.
just like everybody else. You're documenting couples in love. That's it. That's all
Yes.
you got.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yep.
but yeah, I love, I've had Terry Baskin on. I love Terry. That's my
Yes,
girl.
that's my girl. I saw she just shared. That's so
Yeah,
fun. I love
I'm
her. That's my
trying. We're
girl.
just gonna do this right now. I'm trying to snoop on. I think
Uh-oh.
Iris said no, but she's having a baby. She was like, it's not the right time, right? You know?
Iris, you know what? Iris is so crazy. She's a little introverted. Like
I
I
know.
like a little bit. It's I think she is until she gets behind the camera and then she comes alive.
Okay.
And so she's just like, sometimes I'm always like, girl, like the people want to hear from you. She's
Yeah.
like, sis, yeah, you'll get her
I've
on.
tried.
We'll get
I've
her
tried.
on.
I
Don't
have a list
worry.
in my brain, and it's people in your crew or people you know. I'm like Iris, Terry, you. Do you know Mecca Gamble? Have you heard of her?
Yes. Oh my God, I love Mecca.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
girl. Like we are the
Yeah,
girls. Okay.
yeah. You're like,
That's
listen, I'm
my
trying to do
crew.
my thing. There aren't
Yeah.
many photography podcasts out there, and I'm like, we gotta. I love like sharing people that
Yes.
I'll have like a really massive guest, right? Like we had Pete Souza on at the beginning of the year, Obama's photographer,
Awesome.
and then
Okay.
it's like,
Yeah. Oh my God, I love
yeah, and then
him.
we'll have like somebody nobody knows but has something good to share, and I love
Yes.
that and trying to just like have everybody on. So yeah.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
fun.
So tell me, give me, a little bit of background on, I think you told me a little bit of this, but like fill in the gaps for me. How long have you been a full-time photographer? And then
Yeah.
what does that look like for you right now, even with balancing Houston and DC? Is that like 30 weddings a year, 20 weddings a year, 100
Hmm.
weddings a year? What's that look like?
God.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Yeah. There's no way I would never. But I've been full time. This is my 6th year full
Awesome.
time. So
Awesome. Okay.
crazy. Yeah. Time has just flown by. It's so wild. I've had the business going on 10 years,
Awesome.
which is really exciting. And as far as like, so what like the demographic or the ecosystem of Rhea Whitney photography looks like.
Yeah.
So I typically shoot somewhere between like 15 to 20 weddings a
Okay.
year. And 2021 is right there at the 20.
Okay.
And then like I still do a lot of portraits as well.
Yeah.
So I work with branding clients and just portraits in general. And then like I have my education platform, Photobomb Academy.
Yeah.
And so I have courses, 2 courses, digital courses, and then like just coaching services. And so that's a whole kind of another
job.
department
Yeah.
or in a whole nother business. Exactly. So that's kind of really like how I've kind of, how I operate, and I love it. Like I really do love it. This is my 7th year in weddings. So that's fun. And I just, I feel like, I don't know. I think like I love shooting weddings. I love shooting weddings and I really love being a part of the day. But as I grow as a business owner, I do see that I won't do this forever.
Yeah.
I won't, I'll probably have like a solid 2-3 more years in me or something like that. Yeah, maybe, we'll see. I say that, but I'm really loving like coaching my students and really giving them like the support and the information and all the things to grow and thrive within their business. Yeah. And so that's a lot of fun. And I've just found myself like just being, just really having a really good time with that. And so I definitely want to continue to like grow that and scale that and have more offers and things like that. So, but this year is packed to the brim, like to the brim, as far as weddings are concerned. And you know how it is, like portraits kind of fill in as the year kind of, comes about. Yeah. So, I mean, 20 is my cap for weddings though. Okay. I kudos all my photographer friends that do like 50 and 65 and 70. I'm like, shout out to you. You are the real MVP. Yeah. Like I could not.
Well, this year, all the numbers are getting messed up. Like I'm normally, my heroes shot like 35 and 40. So I always thought that was my number. And once I got to that, like, I think our full timeness is about the same age. We've been 6 years, 7 years. It's like, nice. Like, okay, that's cool. That 35 to 40, I felt good about that because I wasn't doing anything else. So I was like, okay, this is it. But then last year, everything reschedules, right? So probably 30 of our 40 reschedules. And I didn't know really how to solve, what I wanted to do. And so our strategy was like, all right, I'm going to book everything. So I'm going to tell you a haunting stat. All right. I'm going to tell you a haunting stat about,
my
about 2021 right now.
Okay.
All right. So April, pretty normal, busy spring. I shot 5 weddings. I did have a triple in there, but it was fine. I shot 5 weddings, whatever.
God, Adam. Yes.
And we would have a triple or two, every once in a while.
Okay.
I don't mind that. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to not do them, but I
will never do a triple ever again. Oh my God. I did it. I think it was 2019. And whoa, I almost got taken out. I was like, oh, this is not it.
Yeah.
This is not it. I'll do doubles, but I will not do a triple.
You got to be strategic. Mm-hmm. My craziest.
You really do.
Do you know Tayana Nelson? Do you know her by chance?
No, I don't.
Her company is called Good Bodies KC. She's from Kansas City, Missouri, I think.
Okay.
Super cool lady. But she's been on the podcast and we've been texting a little bit, and she saw that I shot a triple, and she just texted me. She's like, "What's it like to have good knees?" Or something like that.
Like, seriously,
they're not good. They're crying.
Knees, good backs.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Missy Elliott song, but for wedding photographers. That sounds like a good real idea. Anyway.
Oh, that is a good real idea. You should do it. I'll be on the lookout.
So, April, we 5 weddings or whatever, and it was a little busy, but I liked it. It was like a good welcome back, and I thrive. Maybe not an extremely busy scenario, but I do. Mm-hmm. I need something to do. Like I need to
keep it going.
Yeah, especially after last year, I found that, and I was like, okay, I need like a purpose to drive me at least, or to get up early, right? And but I'll tell you a little crazy stat. So for May though, normally a busy year or busy month, right? Or at least like 3 to 5, right? 3 to 6 maybe. Mm-hmm. I only have one. We have 2 weddings for the team. I have one, and my teammate has one.
Wow!
But for the whole
June.
But for the whole year, and we take off July, so no weddings in July.
Wow!
We have 70 weddings this year.
Oh my God, my heart just like fell. 70.
I'm so nervous.
So it must be September, October.
And the downside is, if we took
August.
2 months off, it's all triples.
Yeah.
There's gonna be weekends. I think my craziest thing, and again, I like it, but obviously I hate it at the same time. But I think my probably 2 years ago, I had 2 triples back to back, and so it was 6 weddings in 10 days, which was insane. But I was like,
giving me the heebies.
Yeah. But the downside is your mortgage is like, what's up, 6 weddings, So I'm like, all right.
Yes, absolutely.
Gotta pay the tax man too, all that jazz. But
man.
But I think this year it's probably gonna be like 9 weddings in 15 days or something insane, right? Because I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 triple wedding weekends, triples of that. In a row.
God. What?
Yeah, which is my fault. I should have said no, but we're just trying to reschedule and trying to book new stuff to make sure we don't, I didn't know how long everything was going to last, and
I know it's been really, really great, a crazy ride for us, wedding vendors, wedding it's been wild, right. Yeah. So, man, all I can think of is maybe you need to get you some CBD cream, because after the weddings, you need to rub your knees down, you need to rub your back and shoulders down. And just get ready for the next one the next morning. Yeah. Child, I would have a whole routine. I got to drink this whole bottle. I got to do this. Listen, just to get ready for the next day.
The worst is, my favorite weddings are where I can show up 2 p.m. or later. I don't want to be there any earlier than that. But the problem is if you shoot on this past triple, Friday night was a late one, which is awesome. So 4 p.m. to midnight. I'm like, awesome, great. I had a whole day to myself, come in, shoot the 4 to midnight. Awesome. The next day, it creeps up a little earlier, and you're like, hey, can you come at noon? And you're like, okay. I don't have too much time to sleep in or
recoup. Right.
But it ends a little bit earlier, ends at 8 p.m. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, all right.
Right.
But then the next day, you still have a little bit of a hangover from the wedding, and I have to be there at 10:30. And I'm like, ugh. So it kept getting worse and worse. It should have got better.
Yes.
Sunday should have been my 4 p.m.
You
wedding.
know what? It's always the third wedding. It's the third one. The second one, the first one, you're like, all right, let's do this. We're getting, three back together. Let's go. The second one, you're like, all right, we got it. It's the third one that hits when you're like, so, but you got it. You got it. We're pros at this. Like, what are we really?
We gonna try.
We gonna try. Yeah. I did it once, and I'll do a couple of doubles in a year. I'll do like a couple doubles, but like nope. For triples, I just count me out.
No, I love it. I always say, like, as my business has grown, like, this is what I would probably tell you. It'd be like, your DC pricing needs to be like $3,500 more. And just like, if they say yes, you make it worth it. You're like, all right, it's cool.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
And be like, okay, if you want me, you gotta get me. So,
yes.
Tell me a little bit about Photobomb Academy. Like, I'm new to the education space, other than, podcast, which is kind of educational, but, but like, Photobomb Academy, separate brand. I'm paraphrasing, but it sounded like it was like the Lizzo song. It was like bomb lighting for bomb photographers or something like that. So, brag a little bit. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so like I'm super cheesy, and like I created Photobomb. I was like, I'm gonna help people make their photos bomb and their business bomb through Photobomb Academy. It's so cheesy. But so I really created like Photobomb probably in like 2018. Just off of like, I was kind of doing one-on-ones, mentoring sessions, meeting people where they were. Yeah. But again, that's like, time consuming. Yeah. And so I eventually was like, okay, I need to create like a digital course or something that's like pre-recorded so I can give them the knowledge and then still kind of show up and help them through it once they watch the modules. And so it's, I created my first digital course, 2019. It's called From Hobbyist to Pro. And it's really like teaching other photographers the foundation to building their photography business, specifically like a personal brand photography business. I like to kind of specify that. And you don't have to have like a niche. You don't have to be a wedding photographer. You don't have to be a branding photographer. It's just foundation of the business. Yeah. And so that was my first course. I'm super excited. I'm currently in my fourth cohort of the program. Awesome. And I've had a little over 60 people come through the program. And so that is like so fun. And just, like I said, like to be able to pour into like their businesses and their mindset and give them knowledge and, just give them keys that's going to take them to the next level is just so amazing. I've seen some of my students completely soar. Like one girl, she took it in 2019, and as of 2021, she has like 13 weddings on the calendar. Awesome. When she took the course in 2019, she barely like even believed that she could be a photographer. Like she barely believed in herself. Yeah. And so now she's like booked and busy, you know what I mean? Yeah. And really just thriving and just doing her thing. And I'm just so proud. I had some other people, one girl that went full time. That's awesome. Or is, working towards it. So yeah, so that's from Hobbyist to Pro. And then last year I introduced my accelerator, which is called Elevate. And that's basically giving them like that next tier of support and information, for building their business. So I think Elevate is for those photographers that like have like aren't clear in their pricing strategy. They haven't really created like their premium offer. They have people busting down their door, you know what I mean? But they're kind of still charging a little low. When I say low, I mean less than $500 for maybe a portrait session. Yeah. I mean, whatever, especially in the DC area. And so but people are, busting down their door, and they're really trying to position themselves to go full time. They're really trying to position themselves for, to hire people and just to build the business bigger. And so that's what Elevate, the accelerator is. And so just like a natural progression. And then I've also introduced VIP days, which is like a one-on-one coaching with me, which are intensives, typically lasting like 6 hours. Yeah. And we just go deep in their business. We get very clear on their marketing messaging and their pricing and, their mission and just like where they're going, their vision. We do mindset work, all of that kind of stuff. So that's Photobomb. I mean, it's been so much fun. Like it's definitely like, to me, I love to just impact. I love to see people thrive. I love to see people like take their business serious and even, make more money and go full time and all those type of things. Yeah. So that is my education platform.
That's awesome.
It's really been a good, really run. Yeah. Thank you.
That's cool.
So
I didn't know, like obviously there's like one-on-one, and I feel like most photographers will go one-on-one even if they don't have like an official thing. If they're just like, hey, if you want to learn something from me, like just pay me for my time. I'm more expensive than the, hey, can I buy you coffee or take you out to lunch, right? You're like, hey, like, if you're gonna pick my brain, I need something out of it. But I like I think I saw last night you had a pretty big number. I feel like 8 or 10. It almost had like a masterclass feel or like a mastermind feel.
Yeah.
So that's like the main thing, right? Is like cohorts.
Yeah, the cohort. Yeah, so this cohort currently is 14 ladies,
oh my gosh,
which is really exciting. Yeah, and I kind of had a goal of like a larger cohort, but you know what? I'm so grateful for each one of them, and to be able to really build this community, because like at the level that they're at, they're looking for like other creative friends, other photographer friends. They're looking for people that they can relate to and they can lean on. And I remember being there. Like, I remember being like, yo, I need somebody else that's doing, like, I need to be able to bounce things off of. I need to, talk about this crazy client request or whatever, run whatever by my friends, my photographer friends. And so, so this one is 14. Last night, everyone wasn't on the call. And so that was like the picture, but it's really fun. Yeah, it's good. I think my largest cohort has been 16. But in general, it ranges pretty much between like 10 to like so far 16. So
that's so cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with 14 or 16 people, who want to buy from you, that kind of thing. Like that's awesome. That's awesome. Do you guys like meet like monthly or something like that as a group, or will you like coach them individually or give resources?
Yeah. So how I run the cohorts, this cohort is 8 weeks. So the program is 8 weeks. The course itself is 5 modules with multiple lessons in each module, and they're dripped, right? And so like next week they'll get module 3. And then there's like a lot of bonus content. Like I interviewed Terry, I've interviewed like Natasha, like I interviewed like a therapist that works with mindset. I've done additional trainings on like Flash 101. I've done one of my best friends, she does SEO. So she comes on in and talks about like SEO. So there's like a lot of content, a lot of like juiciness that's happening along with bonuses. So like the bonus of this cohort was a business readiness training. That's what we did last night, where I just literally created this checklist of like all the things they need to have in order to have their foundation of their business legit, like LLC and EIN and all that juiciness. And then we're going to do like a workflow training. So how it really like plays out is 8 weeks, 4 coaching sessions, but then 2 bonuses. So it's really like I go live with them at least once a week, and do some type of coaching, mixed with pre-recorded modules, and, homework that aligns with the pre-recorded modules. So it's a lot. Yeah. This is my first time offering it for 8 weeks. Before it was my first cohort was like 5 weeks. The second was like 6 weeks. The third one was 6 weeks, and this one's 8. And in the midst of like when enrollment is closed and I'm being a photographer, I also do one-on-ones. And so depending on where the one-on-one, like the person is in their business, they will get access to the course, or, it depends on if I feel like you need this foundation, like, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of like pre-homework. And then the one-on-one, the intensive, we go kind of deeper specifically in their business. So it's like, that's kind of how I run it. This one, is 8 weeks. And, I probably won't open enrollment for this program again until like January of 2022. But I plan on having a live event here in Houston, which will be like a 2.5 day live event, intimate, and then doing my accelerator.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
That's it. Thank you so much. I literally love it. I mean, I tell people this, like, why do I charge what I charge or whatever?
Yeah.
Like I've invested thousands of dollars
Totally.
in my business,
Yeah.
in my education, like in the growth and where I'm at, not even just in equipment. Yes, equipment, but like the business, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and so if you want like to a piece of my brain, or you want to like be in my fold and understand what it looks like behind the scenes,
Yep.
and even to be introduced to my audience, and you know what I'm saying? Like, or my people, my friends, you know, it's a value exchange,
Definitely.
right? And so I believe that when people pay, they pay attention,
Yep.
and they take things more serious. Yes, like you know, so many times you'll get free stuff and people barely watch it. They don't even, you know, they don't even tap in.
People don't even watch
and
the paid stuff sometimes.
They don't even watch the paid stuff. It is wild.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, if we're going to do this and you're going to really take things serious, you gotta, it's always an exchange for something. So, and I think it's totally worth it. I feel like I'm giving people like game, like thousands of dollars of game
Totally.
for a small percentage. Like it took me years to figure this stuff out.
That's how I feel about all education in general, is like, most people won't watch or do it, and then they'll be like, it didn't really work for me. And it's like, did you actually do? It's like me going to the gym or a nutritionist and not doing the homework and being like, why am I not shredded? Where's my six pack at? You know, and
you didn't even do anything.
And it's like, if you're not going to do the work, you know, like there's a balance, and obviously you got to like the teacher, right? So different people learn from different people, and that kind of stuff. And it's you know, I also think the fun thing I like about education is like, yes, you pay for it if you can afford it, right? There is a barrier to entry at some level, but it's like you bypass and don't make all the mistakes that we made at first, you know?
That's it.
That's what I've learned.
That is it. And that can save you thousands of dollars and your time. Time is this resource that none of us are getting back, right? And so sometimes you see people that like say they want to grow and they want to do these things, but they really never really invest. And you see them stuck and stagnant in their business because they're trying to put the pieces together, but you're not really, to me, like I tell people, and I know people are like, but it's golden when you like invest in education. Like that education has changed everything for me. I'm full-time, you know what I mean? Like I've created this whole business just because I was being willing to invest in where I'm trying to go and get help from people that are doing the things that I've done or can just like really point me in the right direction. So yeah, it's key. It's really key. And it's a drop in the bucket. I tell my students this, I'm like, you're going to make this money back. Like there's no question about it. If you do what I say, do, you show up, you put in the work. What are we talking about right now? Right. 4 sessions. Like what, you know, but this knowledge is going to change everything for you. But it's just really, to me, it's all about how serious are you about your business? Like, you know what I mean? And that's the difference. That's the key difference. And it's on them.
Yeah. Something I ask my mentees or like Facebook group whenever they're feeling weird is I'm just like, listen, you know, there's no pressure and it's a privilege to do what we do. But I'm like, how bad do you want it? Man, like this is a dream. Like if you told you and I when we were in high school, like, hey, you're going to run your own business and you're going to make X amount of dollars. You know, for Ray, you're going to get to be in 2 cities. For me, I get to shoot and meet people that I didn't grow up with. I never, different cultures, all that kind of stuff. Like, like I've shot a wedding with a Howard bride and they did like the Howard dance. I don't even know what it's called. Ooh. Yeah. It was red.
Wait, the swag, was she Greek? Like, was she like, meaning like, was she a Delta or AKA? Ooh. Or did they do?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, I have no idea.
Some songs started playing and all the Howard
Black
people,
surf.
and they were like grooving that.
Black surf.
Okay.
I know. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Swag surf.
Also,
surf.
Didn't Vice President go to Howard?
Yes. Kamala, Soror Kamala. That's, first of all, don't get me started to talk about Howard because I love Howard.
That's awesome. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I used to lead worship at Lincoln Theater. Our church met at Lincoln Theater, so right down the street. Yep.
So good.
Yep. Black Broadway.
So good.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, isn't Lincoln Theater now Howard Theater?
I don't think so. No, I think
Lincoln Theater. No. Okay, I'm thinking about 2 different things. That's awesome, though. Yeah. I'm thinking about 2 different things.
No, it's all good, girl.
Because they brought back the Howard Theater. Okay.
It's all good. No, that's cool. Awesome. What are you hopeful for 2021, after last year and like as you're trying to move, like when do you think you'll be full Houston, with like a sprinkle of
Oh my
DC,
gosh. Man, I don't know. I pray about it all the time. I don't know. It's like whenever he has fit and, for me, I'm leaning in. But you know what? Like, just as it took me time to grow, like my brand presence and like my authority and like all the things in DC. So it's going to take time in Houston.
Yeah.
What I'm finding is that I'm connecting with like a lot of like DC. It's like a Houston DC connect or East Coast Houston connect, right? That kind of brings people. So that's fun. So I'm kind of like leaning into that. But you know what? It might be another 2-3 years before I'm like fully in Houston. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's really up in the air. It's a toss up. Yeah. But what I'm hopeful for this year, just a really successful season with fun. I'm excited for us to kind of get back to, I don't know, big weddings or just like the party aspect and just to see the couples have a ball, like to see, just that piece, like the families unite, just the fun. And I love receptions. Like as a photographer, I love portraits. I can't lie. I love to create portraits with bride and grooms on their wedding day or with the bride with their girls and the groom with their, I love that. But like outside of that, I love the reception. Like I just love to see them have a good time, turn up, have a ball, like party it down and just like have the time of their life that they will never forget.
Yeah.
Like, that's not one of my favorite parts. So I'm really excited to get back to that. I'm also really excited to just like create, like just push myself as a creative a little bit more to create some dynamic portraits and just to, be out there and back in the game again. Like for real, even though I feel like last year I shot 16 weddings. Okay. So most of them were micro. I had a few full size, one full size in DC, which was like an Ethiopian wedding. And then I think 2 bigger weddings here in Texas again, because everything in Texas is just big and spread out and we're open. So yeah, I'm just really excited to kind of just get back out and create and just, how it is, like the high of a wedding day. Yeah, like you're just in it, you're creating and it's just things are happening so fast. And then like after you're like, whoa, that was pretty awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited for the rush of it all. And then to host a live event in Houston, I'm scared, kind of shitless, because I'm just like, DC is my stomping grounds. In my mind, I know people will come in DC. Yeah. Will people come in Houston? But my folks are like, yeah, girl, we coming. Yeah. Like we are coming to Houston. Awesome. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited to even be able to offer that in this city, and kind of put my little flavor on it, make it really freaking beautiful. And just full of fun. So that should be good. Yeah.
We should. Yeah. This is, I've never thrown a live event, so definitely don't take my word for it. But at the few events I've gotten to like speak at or little conferences and stuff like that, I think you could crush it. Like obviously with your community in general, like if you get the Terrys and the Irises and the Meccas, like, I don't know if you were going to teach the whole time or if you had like other people come speak and then like, I think too, like your whatever venue it is, like do it on weekdays, right? So wedding photographers will want to come. So the incentive there. Yeah. You could give like Photobomb people like a little discount or something, or or have them like help sell it, right? Like affiliate, or have them like push ticket sales or something like that, and then like
that'd be really cool.
People would come, like push it to Howard, push it to community, stuff like that. I think like yeah.
And because it's going to be intimate, like I literally don't think I would have more than 15 people.
Oh, awesome.
Because we're going to do like day 1 is going to be all business, and then day 2 will be like style shoot and maybe some like editing or something like that. Yeah. So it was crazy. It all came to me last night because I've been talking about doing a live event for a minute now, but you know how like you say things and you're like, is this really happening? But like as I get closer,
Yep.
I'm like, girl, you got to make this happen. So it's just like it just all kind of came to me, the flow of it,
Yeah.
and I'm geeked. So it's gonna be
I
intimate.
love
It's
it.
gonna be small. You know,
Yeah.
if you bring photographers together, you have to shoot.
Yeah.
That's what we love to do. But then I also am big on business. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to mix in the two, a little bit of mindset work. I don't even know if I'll have room for guest speakers yet.
Okay. Yeah. You might
I don't
not have
know.
to.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
If it's going to be smaller, then
Yeah.
don't. You know, I think like charge high, have a wait list, see
Oh,
what's up.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
time-based incentive ticket prices. So early bird gets a, you
Yep.
know, all that stuff. Like, you know, this stuff. And I'm just like,
Yep.
I'm just jamming out now. I'm excited for you. So
I love it. Come on. You're giving me all the strategy. You're giving me all the
Yeah.
strategy. But, you know, at the end of the day, like they're going to walk away with like portfolio imagery.
Yeah.
They're going to walk away with like clarity within their business. I want to really do like a networking dinner where we can just like chit chat,
Yeah.
like shoot the stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to do it at like some place that has lots of wine. So we can, you know, just vibe,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just have a really good time.
Yeah.
And again, it's like about that community, and it's just about like being able to just take things up to the next
I
level.
love it.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of stuff like that down here in Houston that I've seen
Yeah.
in this aspect, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, let me go ahead and add my flavor to it. So it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth every penny,
That's
but it will not be cheap.
Don't make it cheap, girl.
No,
No.
oh my God. I don't do cheap stuff, Adam. I'm not a cheap girl.
Yeah.
I like really nice things.
Good.
But I also I value good experiences and like just, you know, all the things. I'm a Nordstrom girl. So
Okay.
good customer service, good quality,
Okay.
never cheap. So yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. I'm super pumped for you. I know the feeling. I have something coming later this year that I'm like, it's been years in the making now, and I'm like, it'll be my first like big step. And
What are you gonna do? Can you talk about it?
well, I think some people know we're doing a course. We're gonna do a course, and
That's so exciting.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I could say. I'm so hype on it though. Like, I've gone back and forth. Right, there's some days where I'm like, why are we doing this? This is dumb. Like, you know. Why is
Yes.
I got the ad budget back from our launch person, and I was like, what? Like, we could buy a decent car. Like, my, you know, this, you know, this is like my parents' mortgage for the rest of their lives, you know, whatever. So it's like big
Right.
risk.
Wow.
But I think like
Yeah.
after working with mentees for a few years, and I, you know, probably have only worked with less than 20 total, you know, mentees. But kind of this idea for me, you know, and I definitely understand there's been some, you know, a lot of privileges that I've had and a lot of things for myself, but at least for some of my background, like, you know, born in a small town, single parent, I was kicked out of college. And so the fact that now, like, I run a business in DC, right, with 20,000 photographers, profit six figures, and I'm not fancy, you know, like I'm not the, I have lots of fancy friends, luxury photographers, like the photographer on before you is from France. She's luxury, like all that stuff. But my whole idea is like, here's how I did it. You know, I didn't do it with ads. I didn't really know anything about ads. Like I did like just old school sweat equity.
Organic marketing.
Yeah. And I'm like, here's all, I'm going to give it away. I'm gonna not give it, but like I keep thinking of like what I want to have in it. I wrote my outline, and the other day I was like, I can put more in it. You know, it's growing because I'm like, I want this, especially because it's not a workshop. Like, we're not limited by time. I'm like, I'm going to put everything in there. Like my client experience, workflow, everything. So I'm excited, you know, because I want like wedding photography has given me, man, I did not expect for this to get this where it's at right now. Wedding photography has given me such a, you know, an opening into the world and so cool. And like getting to meet new people, become more empathetic, you know, with cultures and people, and, you know, being in a big city, and then, yeah, there is like the monetary stuff, you know, like when my wife and I bought our house, for DC, it ain't that impressive, but for anywhere else, like she was sharing our Redfin listing with everybody, and I didn't understand why. And she was like, well, my son bought a X amount of dollar house. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, you're proud of that. Okay. I didn't get that. You know, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
And then I just love, I have tons of other friends that are so good at stuff. And I'm just like, hey, what if you could do that for a living? And I'm so like hungry for them now. And I love like watching people, you know, go full time, or like, right. Like, you have tons of stories, right, where a mentee or somebody who's been in the academy, you know, is making more. Like my mentee yesterday,
Yes.
they, they made we started meeting last year, like 2 or 3 times, and they've made all of 2020's revenue in the last 4 months. So they're like,
That's
yeah,
phenomenal.
they're looking at the,
So good.
yeah, and I'm like, guys, that is like, you're gonna make more money than you've ever known in your entire life,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's that's ironically, once you get past the personal imposter syndrome of like, oh, am I good enough? The money is going to do the opposite effect. You're gonna be like, do I deserve this?
Right.
And
Yes. No,
yeah,
seriously.
and
Seriously. I mean, I really think it's all a mental game.
yeah,
Like once you know, like marketing, once you know your brand and you've done that piece, like
yeah,
now it's just you versus you mentally,
yeah,
like just like doing the things scared, like trying the new things, thinking outside of the box, like believing in yourself, believing in, these dreams that you have, like really like leaning in and doing the work and like, not shying back because you're scared or
yeah,
you have these like irrational fears.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, as an entrepreneur, we create our ceiling. Like you are
Yeah,
not a tree. You're not stuck. You don't have to just stay stagnant.
yeah,
You can do the things, right? And 2020 taught us that. Like, if you did not lean into the pivot, I do not know what you did.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
totally.
So it's just about like that's what entrepreneurship is.
Yeah,
It's just like this mental game. It's like a personal development strategy, mental like crazy warfare
yeah,
every day. But if you can tackle it and just day by day, it's literally a day by day thing.
yeah,
You will look up and you will be like you would have achieved so many crazy things.
yeah,
And I think for me right now, like I have achieved so many of my goals
yeah,
that I set out initially, right?
yeah,
Like I'm like dreaming a new dream.
yeah.
Like I'm coming, like now I'm like, dang, I got to do now, I always said I wanted to write a book and I want to start, I want to do a podcast. Like I can't just talk about it anymore. It's now happened. It has to happen because the other things that I've had, the only thing that I have not done is shot like a cover of a magazine yet.
Okay.
And that was always like, oh, I would love to do a cover shoot.
Yeah.
Haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
But for the other pieces of it, like, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've succeeded.
Yeah.
It's happening. I'm living it. Right. And so now it's like, I'm like pushing myself to dream new dreams.
Yeah.
Like, where do we go now?
Totally.
Yep. So it's a beautiful ride. Like, I'm so grateful, but we work our buns off. Okay. We work, it's no joke. This is not like, this like crystal stair. Like we are out here, we give our time away, weekends in advance, years in advance. Like there's so much to it. And even just like as a creative, I'm like, to go out and create, it's in our head and it's just energy. It's just like this transfer of energy. I've learned that this year heavy with the pandemic, we take on anxieties of clients with, the pandemic and the virus, but it's just like this creative energy. And it's a beautiful thing, but it is not cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, to be in this space with me, with my clients and stuff like that. Like it's an experience and it's tolling on us in a good way. Right. Yeah. But it's not, it's a privilege in a sense. So yeah, I enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I always tell people, like, anytime I raise my prices, I stop feeling bad because I'm like, there's nothing else in their lives that will last forever. And this is going to last forever. So
forever. Yep. That's so good. Yeah. Oh, I love that. See?
Yeah. Photos accrue in value the day after the wedding. Everything else goes to zero.
They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over time, everything else goes to zero. Oh my God, that is so good, Adam. Over time, like these photos legitimately become priceless. Yeah. So you pay X amount for the wedding day or whatever. Yeah. But over time, completely priceless. And when people figure that out the most is when, sadly, like someone passes or something. Yeah. That's when it's like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like these, literally these moments that we capture just become.
That was last year, like everything became so much more important. And if people can't be at the wedding, you're like, hey, like this is our job. Let's do this. So I love it. Well, Ray, thank you so much for coming on. You're freaking awesome. And definitely before you pre-plan the event, if you need help or you just want to promo it, come back on, come chat. We'll do
Oh,
Instagram
I
Live or
would
something,
love
whatever.
that. Yeah, let's do
I
it.
just love
That'd
hanging
be
out. I'm
fun.
an extrovert, so like, especially after last year, and I just want to meet photographers and like,
Yes.
if somebody needs me to hop on Instagram Live and we can hype somebody up, like if it's somebody I want to have on, I already believe in you, so like I already like you, so
Thanks,
yeah,
Adam.
what can I help as much as possible? And then yeah, please bug Iris as much as possible. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I will. You bet I will. I'm like, Iris, we talked about you on the
Yeah,
podcast. Go listen because they're ready. The people are ready for you. Okay.
so here I'll get you out of here, I promise. But she in DC, I felt like and no offense to Terry or you, but I felt like Iris was the queen. Like honestly,
Love that.
especially like I came in and you'll always see somebody that surprises you and you're like, this person don't live in DC. But like Iris is DC, and like I saw that and there was nobody else in the industry that wasn't new or like not approachable. And she's there. And so I'm like, girl, we gotta talk. We gotta get you on here. So
Yes, I love that.
yeah.
I love
So
that. No, she's awesome. Like, man, I'm just again grateful for the community that God has like put around me. Like, I met Iris, Terry, Mecca, Natasha, and Cameron, our little crew. I met them like literally like 5 years
oh,
ago,
that's
5 or 6
awesome.
years ago, and we were hungry for it. I think all of us, none of us were full time.
Yeah.
So it had to be like 7 years ago, actually,
Yeah.
because none of us were full time. We were just really hungry to build this brand and this business,
Yeah.
and like to be able to literally have them as friends and have that community, and
Yeah.
then to see where we are now. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so good, and that's the space that I try to create for my students, for my mentees, is that you all in this, like, y'all are the next thing, right? Like, I think it's like this wave of new creatives that's coming.
Yeah.
And it's a shift, right? And so I want them to lean on each other and build that friendship and like start that, that community, because it's really going to take you higher.
Yeah.
And
it's good to have people,
at every step.
like I just got a text this morning from a friend that was like, Adam, I need you to read an email that I'm about to send to a client, and make sure I'm not being a jerk, or, and I need that too, like vice versa, like help me with this, or even like I want to start, I've been doing this a little bit, but like just having other photographers and maybe paying them, but they'd be like, hey, call my wedding. I want to see what you think is the best, because photographers, like, we don't like to get told what we're good at or what we're bad at, especially when our business is good, right? We're like, oh, I make six figures. Like, you're not going to tell me what to do. But like, do you want to get better? Like, I want to get better. It's going to suck, but I want to get better. So,
yes, that's it. Me too. I feel like that's how you win for real, though, is when you're constantly trying to get better.
Yeah.
Even some of like the biggest wedding photographers, Iris and Terry, like Stan and Josh Dwayne, like, whenever we link up, like we're all like just trying to literally get better and literally like just kind of push the envelope. And it's that, like, those moments I'm like are priceless to me. And that's what kind of pushes me. I didn't even mention my girl, Ashley Bing. I love Ashley.
Bing.
We went to high school together. That's my boo.
Yeah. She's been on before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. That's actually how I got introduced to your podcast, is because she was a guest. Yes.
I love her.
So, again, a dynamic shooter, amazing eye, and like her growth. Oh my gosh,
explosive.
So explosive. It's explosive. I just love like seeing her as a creative. All my friends, it's just like, I'm just so grateful. And so now it's like building that community for the next kind of like generation. Totally. And it's cool. It's really an honor. I don't take it lightly. I try my hardest to make sure that they feel the love and they feel like, whatever. Yeah. So it's awesome.
I love it. Well, Ray, thank you. I don't want to call you Rhea, but Ray, thank you so much for being on. And where can people go to come chat with you, talk about the episode, or hype you up? You want to see your work and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, awesome. So they can find me at Rhea Whitney. Ray is spelled RHEA. Okay. Rhea Whitney on Instagram. Photobomb Academy on Instagram. Literally Photobomb Academy.
I love it.
I haven't really posted a lot on there, but we're going to get back to that. But and then website is RheaWhitney.com, PhotobombAcademy.com. Boom. Like, find me, hit me up in the DM. Let me know that you found me on here. I would love that. I'm definitely going to reply. So
I love it.
Let's chat.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ray, for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you, Adam, for having me.
Guys, thank you so much for checking out The Bearded Hog. It really means a lot. If you can, leave a like on the video. If you want to see more videos, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications on when new videos come out immediately. Have a wonderful day, guys, and keep being awesome.